Hey guys, for this week's tutorial, we are going to do grad fans. So we're going to start off in Canva and we're going to go to 8.5 by 11. Usually it's standard size. If you're doing bigger, then you go to a bigger sheet, of course. And I don't know about anybody else, but I know when I'm designing, I have to think of a theme and a direction that I want to go. So I was thinking for a cool minute, and I did delete that little thinking part because it was a little 5 minutes. I was trying to figure out, well, girl, what you want to do? So I'm like, let's go with that basketball jersey. I think that would be cute as a little background. And so I'm going to go and I'm going to get my basketball jersey frame. And I'm going to delete that little part right there and bring that down to size because it's not going to be the whole page. It can be the whole page if you wanted to, because that would also be a very cute fan. And one of these times I will be doing that. I think so, because that would be super cute. And so I'm just going to size it down. And then I'm like, let me add a couple of Polaroids to the side, because, you know, the more pictures you have, the better you represent your kiddo. And so I'm going to get one Polaroid from Elements, and I'm going to place that there. I'm going to duplicate that, and I'm going to just, turn that like that, size it down a little bit, and I'm going to duplicate that again, bring it down, and do the same thing. Size it, make sure that it's turned, and whatnot. Now I'm going to grab all three because I want to see what it's going to look like behind it. After I size it down, of course. I'm going to put that to the back, and I'm like, no. So we're going to bring those Polaroids back to the front. And that's the thing with designing. You have your idea, but it's still always about trial and error. What's going to work, what's not going to work. And you just let your creative juices flow, Like teaching design for me is teaching the way that I do it. But you need to put your own spin on it and do what feels right to you. Make it your own. So now I'm going to get some words. Just going to go to simple text. And then we're just going to put senior. Place that at the bottom. But honey, you can place it wherever you want to place it. This is just, where I'm placing that. I'm going to make it a little bit big to cover that whole bottom. Bring it down a little bit. And then I'm just going to get the majority of my words together before I change the colors and fonts and all of that. So now, of course, we're going to need to have a congratulations. Oh, I guess I did change the font. So I changed it to Sports World, which is a Canva font. If it's free, I don't know. I'm not sure. And then I was writing congratulations, but then I'm like, what about kind of gradulations? That would be cute. A little play on that. But it would have been cute had I not wanted it to be like a cursive type font. So, like I said, trial and error. So I changed that to red so people can notice that, yes, I know how to spell. I'm just spelling this a little bit wrong because it's supposed to be a play on the word. And then when I turned it into this little cursive font, I was like, I don't really like cursive fonts, all caps. Like, that's just not tea. So I just ended up, making it look like I could spell. Because, people do the most. Everybody's not going to see your vision. And that's just what it is sometimes. So we just going to make that lowercase, and we're going to change that eventually into grat. Congratulations, And make it all one color. But that right there is cute. I should have left that because that is still cute. But yeah, because I'm like, I don't need these people thinking I'm dumb. So I just changed it back to the regular color, changed it back to the regular congratulations. And place that on top of there. Again, you can put it wherever you want to put it. This is all about letting your creative juices flow. And of course, we need that class of 26. If I was thinking, I would have went into Misha's her vault from the grad class and got one of those pop-in 2026s. But I will definitely make sure I do that next time. And I'm just going to place that on the bottom there. And just like that. And now I'm going to figure out this background thing, resize it. I grouped it all together and then I resize it. Child, me doing this voiceover is kind of like I'm watching it for the first time. So I'm just like, So what I'm doing now is aligning the Polaroids, making sure they all line up to one side evenly and it doesn't look all crazy. Because again, it is all about symmetry as well. Like it has to flow, it has to go, it has to make sense. If people have to question it, then I guess it's art, because everybody don't understand art. But anyways, so I'm like, I'm gonna go with this little boy that I had for the little jersey, and ended up choosing the wrong thing. So I just went and I'm like, oh, this ball, because when you see things, it inspires you and you're like, oh, that can go there, for me anyway. So I'm like, we can play on the O, and I'm gonna put the ball in the front of the O and let that work out like that. Like, boom, resize it. Like, how cute is that? Because, this is a little basketball fan. And so now I'm going to look for the images. Well, first of all, I need to find my background and the images that I want to go. I was going to change it to that ball, but then I was like, yeah, he's wearing orange and blue. That's just not going to work out. So I'm getting my characters. Now, okay, so mockups. Let's talk mockups. Mockups is pretty much giving people a visual of what you can make before you actually make it. That way you don't have to make it in order to advertise. So the people that we are using are not real people. They're just like mock-up models. And I created this one in ideogram when I was making the jersey. And so I just use him a lot when I'm doing my little basketball, little 1-2. And yeah. So for mockups, it's just a display of the item that you are going to make so people can visualize what you're going to make. It doesn't have to be a tangible mockup. It can definitely be a tangible mockup. You can even do this is what's going to look like versus what it actually looks like. But anyways, back to what I'm doing. I did drop the background. Now the background I already had, but if you need to build the background, then that's okay too. And you're just putting pretty much textures on images on, layers, which is what I have for this background. I have that blue background, which is kind of like a gradient ombre. And then on top of that, I have those polka dots, which I turned orange. And then I have a gradient at the bottom, which is blue. And then I have those lightning bolts. Three layers. Oh, and the basketball. We cannot forget the basketball. So now I'm just dropping some images on here and placing them where I think it will go. And then when that is done, I'm going to go back and I am going to expand the images by double clicking. I am on my laptop, so I'm going to double click the image and zoom in like so. And then as I was doing that, I was like, this would be so cute if it was to go out of the frame. So that's what I'm going to do. So I zoomed him in, and then now I'm going to get another image and place that on top. Align it with that image as close to it as possible. Now, this part can be a little difficult and take a little time, but it is definitely worth it. And it definitely adds that pop of wow, And you definitely want to make sure that it lines up. There we go, just like that. And he looks like he's popping out. It's that like 3D effect, which is super cute. And boom. Now, ideally, the images would have a background on there, the ones in the Polaroid, but this is what he had, so this is what we're working with. And so now I got another picture in here. Now, if you want, you could have just left the one image and put his name next to him in the jersey. But, people like a lot of images. So that's what I'm pretty much playing on. And then, of course, it's for graduation. So he has to have a cap and gown, which is, this image right here. And I'm just going to move him behind and expand him a little bit like so. And this is a good amount of pictures. So I think that's pretty good. So now this is just me just adjusting a little bit, bringing in the sides from the pictures so that if I need to click on anything, it's easy and, not that difficult. So now it's time to put his name, and we're just going to name him Tyrone. And we're going to put Tyrone's name at the top behind him. Just like so. And then we're going to change that font to Sportsman. Now, when it comes to font pairing can be a little difficult, and you definitely don't want to go over. The ideal amount of fonts is maybe like 2. You can push 3, but I would say 2, especially for something this small. Now, if you're working on a magazine or something, maybe like you can work with 3, but for this, you definitely want to be a little cohesive. You don't want to be all over the place, and you want it to look professional. So, because the professionalism is what's going to keep people coming back and what's going to get you more clients. So we always want to keep it professional. And for this, I could have done 2 script fonts, but I decided to match the bottom, which was that sports font, and I think it's called Kingston is the cursive one that I'm using. So I'm just putting his last name right there in the Kingston font, and I'm a girl who loves a good layered font, which I'm trying to use all the school colors. And then I'm going to use 2 outlines and a shadow, because I love me a good shadow font. It just gives it that 3D effect. And I guess I love me a good 3D effect. And boom, that part looks really good. So now it's time to, but then I did see that I didn't like the fact that the yellow was blending into the other yellow. So I'm just going to go in and change that yellow to blue, and the layer that was blue, the outline, to that yellow. Bring it down a little bit. That way it's not drowning. Expand the blue a little bit, or boom, just like that. And that's enough. Now, the thing that I want to do is I want the brown to be, his last name, Brown, to be in the back of his head. I want his head to be over the word brown. So I'm going to click on positions, and I'm going to go layers. And instead of bringing him up, I'm going to bring the browns down. So I'm going to go and I'm going to bring the brown underneath him, underneath his image. And I'm going to have to bring every layer, keep making sure that every layer is on top where it needs to be. And same thing with Tyrone. I'm going to have to bring that down as well, making sure that every layer is where it needs to be so that it can look how I need it to look. And boom, just like that. So now we're going to work on the bottom, which we're not going to do too much. We're just going to do a little one too. But first we have to find a little mascot, because that little space behind the jersey is looking a little plain. So you could put the number, you could put the school, you could put the mascot. For now, we're going to work with the mascots. You're going to see we're going to change that up in a minute. Because like I said, designing is about trial and error, figuring out what works, where it works, how it works, and what is attractive to the eye. So I'm just going to bring that mascot right there just to fill in that little, that little blank spot. And then I'm going to put Wildcats, giving it that sports font, giving it a little C curve. And then we're going to put that to the back over the cat. Now, let me just say this, because I don't always do this, and I say this all the time, but I don't always do it. Whenever your element is in position and you want to leave it there, lock it. Because, child, you see how I just moved something and then the Tyrone moved? We don't want Tyrone moving every time I'm trying to move something. So I should have locked him in place. That way he knows, stay right there. But I didn't do that. And it happens to me a lot. You'd think I learned my lesson. I think I'm a little stubborn. I don't know. But you can lock that in. And then I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm just going to add that outline, make that blue, and plop that inside. Now, I did add the outline to the white Wildcat, and I made that one orange, or that little golden yellow. And boom, just like that. And that's really cute. Look at that. Look at us. We are doing this. And so now it's time to switch up the bottom. And like I said, we're going to keep it simple. We're just going to add like a really cute outline to match our little, colors so that everything is cohesive. I'm not going to do nothing major. And so I did that outline on the class of 26. And I'm like, the senior is looking a little plain. So let me go ahead, duplicate that, add a little outline. Did I duplicate it? Oh, I added an outline and turned it yellow. And then I'm going to duplicate that, add a hollow. That's what it's called, hollow. And plop that in there like that. Now we're going to have to bring that behind the basketball. So we're going to go to positions again and bring that down and place it over the senior, like so. So now I'm looking and I'm like, okay, everything is cool, but the basketball is looking a little out of place. So we're just going to find an orange basketball that's going to match the basketball that's in his hand. So I just went to elements and I clicked and I typed in basketball and deleted the one on top. So these are the ones from graphics, but I want it to look real. So I'm going to exit out of graphics and I'm going to go into photo, and boom, here is our ball. And it has that cute little shadow at the bottom, which I did really like. So we just size that down, place that in there, and look at that. It came out really cute. And the ball is looking a little plain. So in the beginning, the idea was originally to add that logo or school mascot on the ball. And even if you didn't have a ball, that mascot right there was really cute. But just placing it, I'm just moving it from off the shirt because if I had it on the jersey and put it on the ball, it would have been a little too much. So you can just do one or the other. And so I decided to just move the mascot onto the ball instead of putting it in the back of that jersey. And I don't want it to be too big, but I don't want it to be too small. And then we're also going to move the wildcat, because that's what it is, and put it over that wildcat. So I'm going to positions, and I'm just going to maneuver things like that. And working with positions, inside positions, really helps you to not have to do a whole bunch of, fighting with all the elements that's on the page, especially if you have a bunch of layers. And then we're just going to resize that. And then I'm going to go down and I'm going to get the hollow version, bring that up over the white like so, and then resize that as well. Now, sometimes when I be trying to work, Canva just do what it want to do and zooms into another part. And that really be pissing me off because I'm like, what is really going on? Look at that. I don't know. I don't even understand why that does that, but we are working it out. Child, let me tell you, eventually I got sick of trying to match this. And I'm like, you know what? F it. We're just going to duplicate it because sometimes it's just easier to start over versus having to spend hours trying to, perfect that. So we're just going to duplicate it and we're going to go into effects and we're going to change that into hollow, bring it down and just do what it needs to do. That way it matches how it needs to be matched. Just like that. Child, I should have did that a long time ago so it would have saved some time. And boom. Our logo is on the ball. So now we're going to look at it and we're going to move that wildcat from the back. Group it all together, move it over. But before we do that, we need to make sure that everything is unlocked. So now we're going to group everything together, move that over so that it is centered. And boom. And I'm trying to get to that wildcat. That's why I'm bringing all these things in. And we're going to delete that wildcat from there. And we're going to go to text. And we're going to put child VHS. The high school initials. We're going to put that back there, and we're just going to add a little text effect and layering, and we are done with this designing part. And boom, just like that. And it looks really good. I like it. I like it a lot. Now, whenever, say I'm selling this template, we always want to make sure that the words have a little bit of space, because, child, for some reason, whenever people get the templates that you send, the words get all miscombobulated and, like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So I always try to make sure that I add a little bit of space on the sides. And now it's time to make our mock-up. So we're going to save this, and we're going to save it. We're going to up the transparency a little bit and make sure that we save it. Oh, before that, I decided I want a little homeboy in the middle to stand out. So we're going to add him a little glow. So he look like he really popping. So I just add a little glow. I went to edit and I went to shadows and pressed glow. And now I'm going to save it transparent, save the page, download it, and then we're going to come back and upload it back into Canva. That way we can give it that outline. Now, if you are working with Cricut will outline it for you. So at this point, you could be done and then just transfer it to Cricut. Add your little outline and all of that in there. But we're creating a mockup. So I'm just going to save it, upload it, add a new page. Like that. And I'm going to change the background just to make sure that everything is what it needs to be. Because if the background's white and things are white, you can't really see. But if it's a different color, you can see pretty good. And now I'm going to add that outline from effects. And press effects, go to shadows, add that outline. And then I'm like, girl, we want 2 outlines. So what I did was I duplicated the page after I added the outline, and then I increased the size of the outline on the back, and then, adjusted the top image. Now I'm going to make it blue. If you want the same blue that you had in your whole design, you're going to have to go and find those, I don't even know what that's called, child, the letters and the numbers to match. And what you cannot do is group the both images together, or else it'll look like one cohesive image. But we're going to go through and we're going to get that popsicle stick. And when we get to group it, it will group then without, blending in together. So it pretty much needs a third party in order to not blend in. So I'm going to go to elements and I'm going to look for fan stick. And then boom, it gave me a little popsicle stick. So just going to bring that down. And then place it to the back. And then we're going to glue that, not glue, child, group that together. Just like that. Look at that. We got a fan. This is called a mock-up. We have our mock-up fan. And now all you got to do is put on your flyer. You could duplicate it. You can make 5. You can make 1. You can make 3. Child, you can make however however many you want to make. This is just like a little, quick 1-2 right here so people can see. And then at some point I'm like, but I can't really see the jersey too good, and that's because of the blue outline. But it's still super cute. And I'm going to come through and I'm going to ungroup some and delete an outline. That way people can see the different variations in which it can go, because it can have both outline, it can have just the white outline, and it can have just the blue outline. And sometimes people need to see all kinds of visuals in order to visualize what they need to see, if that makes sense. But this came out super cute. Fans are super easy to make. And I really hope this tutorial helped. And until next time, happy crafting.